this video, I'm basically simulating what is theoretically the best pawn structure to use if, this is the formation of the board setup and then I was thinking, oh man, because I was watching this video on YouTube about Deep Blue, and then it mentioned half of your pieces are pawns. And then I had an idea like, oh man, why not simulate a game with only just pawns and then figure out what is the best move to actually make with just 50% of the pieces. So D4 is the best opening, and I believe it's because it's taking control of the center of the board. Next, it looks like black is so basically also white is opening onto black, and then black is opening onto white squares. And then we have the king moving up, which is why the infamous Bong cloud, I believe, is so powerful. So I believe that this may be the beginning of understanding the most powerful Bong cloud formation to take an approach with, being as this always is the best move to make. So, in theory, if you were to play chess games, every single chess game should be played with these exact moves if it was only pawns. The only difference when you wouldn't want to use these exact same 20 moves, since it's always going to give you the most powerful structure, is when everybody knows this structure, then you're going to have to start setting up an alternative structure, which that would tie into another video, but we're just going to reveal this first structure because it's going to reveal the most important structure of the chess game, and I think it also reveals the most important dynamic of the game on how the sides of the game are switching sides on moving their pieces onto the squares of the board. So when, white is moving on to white, black is moving on to black, and then black is moving on to white when white is moving on to black. But like I say, we'll talk through this. I really ain't the greatest chess player. I'm just here for theoretical ideas in chess. So I figure this is definitely some good content for everybody to check out. Not to mention when you're getting the maximum power, maximum difficulty here. So you're literally looking at the most powerful understanding structure of the pawn. So there has to be able to be observable technique that we can be extracted off of this knowledge based on some sort of concept or utilization that is being, worked with in a principality. And I believe we can see here the entire principality behind this is getting onto that center of the board, taking full control of the center of the board with that king literally gluing it completely shut. And I think that's why this is the most powerful way to potentially develop any chess game. I think this could literally become the most powerful way to develop any and all chess games through the Bong cloud variation. This is like a Bong cloud variation grandmaster exploit right here. I believe that's what it could lead to. I don't really know. I'm only putting the information out there so everybody can look at it. Okay, so you guys are gonna just have to look at it. Now check it out. the next best move. Remember, the computer plays the best move automatically. What I did was make a move and make sure I went back and played the best move every single time, so I can just simulate the perfect structure of the pawn, just to potentially try to extract theoretical ideas, and maybe if there's anything that I notice of where pieces are shifting onto squares for potential reasons, which is what I believe I'm beginning to notice, because I'm gonna talk you guys through what I think I see. Like you can just kind of see how when black is stepping on to the certain squares, then the white is in replying, stepping on to the other squares, kind of just moving up. So both sides are moving up as quickly as they can, basically. But now you can actually see the quickest way to keep moving up. Okay, so the next move we have black does the best move. Again, coming to grab a fair amount of his center of the board. White further captures more of the center of the board, which I believe this could be the most powerful square to immediately move your king to, with the pawn directly in front of it. Same with black. I think this should be a standard opening for all chess games, I believe. I think every single chess game should most likely begin exactly like this. And then from here, we should start breaking into new strategy. Or, like I say, from here, we can also start principalizing other conceptualizations for alternative beginnings to this variation through the understanding of its potential, algorithm on, what is it doing, why is it getting the most ground by this approach. So now we can kind of see chess theory broken down at its more simplified levels, which is where the true skill of the game comes in, is when you're always down to that final end game. You always got to have that, master skill with just that minimal amount of pieces, because if you don't even know the minimal amount of pieces, mastery, having all these other weapons aren't even going to matter. Now, when we go to our next move, we see... I turned my camera off just so we can see the board a little better. I did leave the banana on there since I figured it didn't get in the way too much. And that's normally kind of right where my webcam is. So now what we have here is white is continuing to build up that center of the board because it's unchallengeable. Black cannot take that pawn. So basically, white just captured free territory, which is why it is the best move. In reply, so what I noticed happen here is white captured the white center. Black is now in reply defending white center. Notice his pawn structure. Defending white center. So as soon as white captures white center, black's immediate reply and strategy and technique to this must be to defend white center. So that is the most powerful concept of the game we are now starting to begin to understand. So white's job is to capture white and black center immediately. So yeah, white has already captured white and black center, but so since black was already more developed in defending white center, black has chosen to complete defending the white center, since it was already basically done. Okay, so now from here, what we're going to be looking at is white is going to go for gaining more ground. So we can see that now white is now continuing to attack black center again. So the black center attack is becoming more powerful right now. Um, so I'm guessing, bringing this into attacking white center could be good too, but this just so happens gets more ground. And I think that's because this pawn is going to move up, and then it kind of leaves this pawn down here floating to protect all these pieces with nothing needing to be over there. So I think that's the whole theory about why you want to kind of move the piece that's further out of the pocket. So it just seems to be further out of the pocket. So the king is guarding this side, and then it's like, so since this is out of the pocket over here and well protected, you might as well let this pawn float and start strengthening the entire structure of the board. So I think it chooses to go with floating that pawn up, gaining as much territory as it possibly can, because the king does not need to be over there in order for the pawn structure on the right side to develop further, which I believe sets it up for a more useful development move. Now, we can see that black has decided to develop. He's getting ready to do protect white, center white, or mid center white here. And so, based on this, it almost seems as though, when white begins to develop black center stronger, then black decides, hey, well, you're going to develop black, I'm going to develop white. So he decides I'm developing white since you're going to go develop black. I don't really know. That's potentially what it might be. Just kind of throwing that out there on maybe that could be a good theory or an idea behind that in case it might be. So we go to the next move and we see that white now defends black center because he already has this king backing up this pawn. Now he has another piece backing up this pawn, tightening up that black center, because as we saw, white was going for the development of black center and completing development towards black center there. And now we go to black is going to complete development of white center, mid white center, I believe. So let's see. Yeah. And I think that was in reply to, gaining more of his own territory, since white's going to go for black squares. I think black is saying, hey, well, I'm going to go for white squares. So we can already see white's development is going to have two main structures developed on black, and then we're going to have two main structures developed on white, which I think is the key principle to the game, is each side getting their two main totems built into play here. And then from here, now we're going to try to see what is the next concept behind what's happening into development. So now white completed the development on that black center. What's black going to do? Let's see, in theory, so he completed his development on white. I believe he's going to start moving on to black. I think that's the next idea. So since he completed the development onto his white, he's going to start moving up onto more black squares, because he's slowly going to start marching in and attacking onto white's black structure. And there it is. We can see that his main structure is getting ready to start defending and attacking white's, white's black center. And then in reply, white is going to move his pieces onto white center now. So starting to develop onto white center. So moving from black center onto white center, since black is moving from white center onto black center. So they're both moving forward as closely as they can forward. As we see, I knew that move was going to be played, so that's how I knew, white. It appears as though white is now developing white center here, and I believe what happens next is black is going to challenge and attack white center here. Or no. He's actually just going to move up because he doesn't have to. So he just moves his pawn structure onto black center. Because that would really weaken his structure by taking in that attack when you can just develop. Don't go for an attack, I think, is the principle and concept behind this, when you can just develop and tighten your position even further, which is what black has done. And from here, we see that black has tightened his black center, and I believe we're going to see white is going to start tightening up on the next part of the structure, which I don't know what that's going to be. So let's look. What is the next concept? He is now tightening onto white center even further. It looks like. Let me find out. Black is now tightening and attacking further onto white center. So he's getting ready to move off of attacking black center and moving on to attacking the white center. What happens next? Yes, white now develops his defense on white center even further. So what I can imagine is going to happen is black is going to have to move and start challenging and moving his pieces onto black center. So they're basically alternating. When white's going on to black, black's going on to white. Let's see what happens here. White now attacks. I think the pressure has built up to the maximum where it's no longer is avoidable on going for the attack, since now it's not going to damage black's structure by taking that attack. Had he have taken the attack, I believe, earlier, it's going to damage the structure because there isn't enough pieces backing everything up yet. So it seems as though all the pieces are backing everything up enough to where it's time to go for the attack. It's almost like a volcano. You build up as much pressure as you can, like a volcano, and then when it's gonna explode, it's gonna explode. And now we see that white captures with this piece instead of this piece. The reason is there's no reason to capture on this side, right? Because you're basically already so strong on the left side. Why do you need to make the left side stronger? You need to make the right side stronger. So the principle behind capturing to the right is to balance your pieces to make your right side stronger, because now we see that this pawn is floating this pawn structure, and the king can easily access this area. So it further is tightening everything, I believe, by capturing from the right side instead of the left side, because don't strengthen the left side even more when you're gonna need to strengthen the right side. So pay attention to that concept. Next, we see black is moving his pieces forward onto black, since white has moved his pieces onto white. Now, white is beginning to further move his pieces onto white. I believe black's going to have to take this attack. No, not yet. White is, or black is going to move his pieces onto black squares further, which it looks like that can complete this, which is the concept I believe behind this. So white is now taking, hey, I'm going white, and then black is saying, hey, I'm gonna go black. So they're alternating, when white takes the white squares, black takes the black squares. When black is taken, they alternate. I think that's the main thing you got to look for, and you got to be the first person to walk and trade over on those squares. Okay, so next we see that white is going to attack black center because maybe his white center development is strong enough that he wants to take out that anything on any sort of white squares to get rid of everything on white. Since he's developed white, he's going to attack white. Now, black is captured. That's an automatic capture. It's obvious, but now black or white is going to go for the capture, and we can see this is the key moment of the game, I think, here, because you can see if this king captures here, he's going to let this king get all the way back over here and destroy his critical pawn structures. So black cannot afford to do that. You cannot afford to leave your wall down. You have to leave your wall up at all times. And white understands this principle. That's the entire concept behind this move. Is, hey, I know you have to leave your wall up because if you take this piece here, I'm going to tear down your entire wall. So he offers them, hey, I'll give you this pawn if you let me take down your entire wall. Because if he takes down this entire wall, these pawns will win the game. So that's a key critical moment, is dragging and luring their king out into the middle of nowhere. So it's a trap. It's a trap. Don't wander your king into the middle of nowhere. Okay, because if this king wanders into the middle of nowhere, when his job is to strengthen this and potentially this, why would you put your guard down? That's putting your guard down going outside of your territory. So black is not going to fall for it. Black knows, I can't leave my territory because I don't own enough of the territory to where I can afford to do that. I can't just walk out into territory thinking that I own every piece of territory. So he says, you know what? I'm just going to be happy with the territory that I know that I've secured and keep it safe. Now white is saying, okay, well, I need to grab more territory since it's free. This territory right now, it's free. I'm taking it. I need it. It's free. Black is saying, fine, you can go take some more free territory. I'm happy with protecting my wall. As long as my wall is indestructible right here, I probably don't even have to worry about what's going to happen between this small little battle going on over here. Because if you make me have to go over here, and I know that you're over here, then I don't have to guard this wall. So me having to get over here isn't going to be a problem. If I have to get over here, I can get over here. If I see that he's going over there. So black knows that. He's like, all right, well, if I see that you go over there, I'll go over there too. But not until I need to. I don't need to go over there unless you're going over there. So White decides, hey, I'm going to get ready to go over there. Wrong. Maybe not. I'm sorry. Let's just continue. I think the principle behind this move was letting black know that if you take one step outside of this territory, going that way, I'm going to move up and I'm going to come in, blocking access to your critical square. These are critical squares right here. And if white is on this square, black's king can no longer have that square. So I think that's the principle behind doing that, is saying, hey, I'm waiting for you to step off of that square, because the second you step off of that square, I'm not gonna let you ever back on those squares ever again. Because if he can never let black get back on these squares ever again, he's gonna be able to get to his critical blocking wall that's stopping everything from ending the game. So black is now going to move his pawn onto a white. So it's basically defending white and black. Oh crap, I moved onto... Okay, yeah. Here we are. So the next move, let's just see what happens. So black is now, or white is going to move his pawn onto black. So we can see it's equal and opposite. Okay, I have a critical pawn structure on white. Black has a critical pawn structure on black. And then now they both have a critical pawn structure on opposite colors. Because like I was saying, you need to capture the opposite of what your opponent is capturing. So now it's like basically completely balanced. And that's the whole point of revealing this video, is showing how it's staying completely balanced. Because they're both claiming an equal amount of territory. By understanding the key principality behind gaining territory and advancing your territory. And basically preparing your army for war. You got to have every piece backing each other up. So black is now getting ready to make a run for it. Because he says, alright, fine. If I can take out this... I don't know. Let's just go to the next move, because I didn't really see enough information off this move to know what's happening. White is saying, I'm not going to let you just go capture my piece for free and then move these pawns in. So I'm going to stay right in the middle, meaning I could go here or I could go here still, blocking his critical squares. So he's basically just kind of keeping an eye on them. Like, okay, I see where you're trying to go, and I'm not gonna let you do it. I'm not gonna let you go walk into my area. And then white decides, okay, well, I'm gonna wait for you to leave your area. And then black says, okay, well, I'm gonna wait for you to leave your area. And that is the key principle of the game, is, oh, I'm waiting for you to leave your area. No, I'm waiting for you to leave your area. Oh, no, I'm waiting for you to leave your area. No, you leave your area first. No, I'm not going to leave my area. You leave your area. No, you leave your area. No, you're going to leave. So that is how chess is supposed to be played.